Good evening, friends. Namaste from India, from the page Neelam, Saxena. It is my proud privilege to welcome poets of eminence for this 9th International English Poetry Meet on my page. Let me introduce and invite inside the studio Aashu, Bhaskar, Ruchi, and Dawn, all poets of eminence and poets whose writings have touched my heart. And I welcome you, dear viewers, with the lines. May the wonderful colors of the evening fill your life with happiness and glow. May you always be contented. May the thoughts of cheerfulness flow. So let me invite the first poet of the day, Aashu Ratra. Welcome, Aashu. Hope you are muted.
Hello, Neelam ji.
Hope you are wonderful.
Yeah, great.
So Aashu Ratra is from Nagpur, Maharashtra. She's a homemaker as well as managing accounts and finance department of family business. She believes that life is a journey. Everybody plays their own part, but presence of a woman adds soul to the journey. She's a bilingual poet. She enjoys expressing her thoughts and emotions through poetry on a page or Ocean of Poetry on Insta and Facebook. So welcome once again, Aashu. And let me now invite the second poet for the day, Bhaskarand Jha. Hello, Bhaskar.
Hi. Hi, man.
I've known Bhaskar since years, I suppose. I don't even remember when we first met. Maybe 7-8 years ago, but online we've been connected since years.
It was your book launch.
Yeah, at Delhi Press Club of India. So Bhaskar is a trilingual poet writing in Maithili, Hindi, and English. He is also a short story writer, critic, and reviewer, regularly published in various national and international journals, both printed and online versions. He has to his credit 3 collections of poems in English, Soothing Serenade, Straight from the Heart, 2 Indias and Other Poems, and Thoughts in Solitude. One of his poems on Nelson Mandela is included in the academic syllabus prescribed for the school students of Philippines. So welcome, dear Bhaskar. And now let me invite another wonderful poet, Ruchi.
Hello, everyone. Hello, ma'am. It's good to see you.
Friends, Ruchi and I met online years ago when I was posted in Lucknow and have remained connected ever since. The bond was further strengthened when she visited India and jab we met. So Ruchi Chopra is a former journalist and social media influencer settled in Cleveland, Ohio, with a family which includes 2 rescued dogs, her 2 kids, and a lot of chaos. As a bilingual writer, she enjoys writing, reading, experimental poetry, and non-fiction. She explores different mediums of creative self-expression through photography, writing, recycled crafts, and collages. Her poetry has appeared in several anthologies, journals, e-zines, and magazines. You can find her on Insta at the handle Banjaran_life. Welcome, Ruchi. So now let me invite Dawn. So, you know, when I heard Dawn, I saw that there is a combination of strength and togetherness in such a nice and lovely way that I was really impressed. Dawn Krieger is a biomedical researcher whose focus is the electric activity within the brain. He is author of the 2020 Hybrid Collection Discovery, published by Cyberbit, the 2022 Hybrid Chapbook, When Danger is Past, Who Remembers, published by Milk and Cake Press, a 2020 Pushcart nominee, and a 2020 Creative Nonfiction Foundation Science as Story Fellow. His work has appeared in American Journal of Nursing, Neurology, Seneca Review, the Asahi Shimbum, the Blue Niv, the Pittsburgh Post Gazette, and others, and has been translated into Farsi, Greek, Italian, German, and Turkish. So, welcome, Don.
Thank you so much for including me. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor.
It's our pleasure too. Over to you, Aashu.
So I would like to have the honor to introduce our most versatile Miss Neelam Chandra Saxena. Neelam ji has authored 5 novels, 1 novella, 8 short story collections, 34 poetry collections, 14 children's books. She is a bilingual author writing in English as well as in Hindi. More than 1,500 of her poems, stories have been published in various journals, anthologies, magazines. She holds a record with Limca Book of Records 2015 for being the author having the highest number of publications in a year in English and Hindi. She has won several international and national awards. She was also listed in Forbes as one of the most popular 78 authors in 2014. When she is not working or writing, she loves to play game of table tennis, anchoring, acting, walking, and besides a large dose of laughter. So here is our own Neelam ji.
Thank you, dear Aashu. So, friends, let's begin our poetry session. Love is like a seed germinating. Its strength and height shall only increase. Put some fodder and water it, and to touch the hearts it shall never cease. A woman always touches the heart of the family. Should her dreams also be given cognizance? Let's hear Aashu as she talks about the sensitive topic. Aashu.
Thank you, Neelam ji. I would like to give a small introduction about my poem, and it's about a man who he dreams of a little girl coming out of a grave and struggling to survive. And soon he realizes that that little girl is his own wife. So then he makes some promises to himself that he will not let her dream, her career to be sacrificed anymore. And then he will not let that little girl go back to that grave again. So here is my poem. It's a dream for a change. Caution, the grave is open completely. The girl buried inside, coming out fiercely. Loaded with anger, breathing so heavily, she pushes herself out. Wiping her tears, holding her wounds, she makes a clear cloud. Oh, it was a dream, I soon realize. The girl was none other but my own wife. The night was dark and the moon was high. Sound asleep, but I can hear the girl inside you cry. Mid-40s, grey strands are clearly visible. Your devotion towards family is invincible. Stop, enough. Enough of the sacrifices you've made for us. Enough of you to always be a solid truss. The new dawn tomorrow will surely not be the same. Fulfilling your dream will be my sole aim. The time has come. Man should realize women are equal to them. The time has come that men should realize women are equal to them. They hold the power to create a new world. They are no less than a gem. The skill to survive, ability of persistence, make woman like a river. The skill to survive, ability of persistence, make woman like a river, cutting through the rocks, flowing like a torrent, but always been a giver. Now it's time for me to give. Now it's time for me to give. Give you back your forgotten dreams. The little girl inside will live like a flowing stream. I am a man. I am a man, I have my own ego. I am a man, I have my own ego. You are a woman, you will live with self-esteem. My support and determination will surely make you brave. The little girl inside will never go back, never again to that suffocating grave. That little girl inside you will never go back, never again to that suffocating grave. Thank you so much.
That was a wonderful poem, Aashu. Can I ask you a question?
Ji ma'am, sure, why not?
What was the inspiration or the thought behind this poem? What made you write this poem?
Yes, ma'am. Surely, if we remove the grave part, then certainly this poem can be related to many women out there who are working, or maybe they've started working because of some inspiration given to them, encouragement. As my husband was the encouragement behind me started writing again. So that what inspired me, encouraged me to write this poem.
Thank you,
Thank
Aashu.
you.
All the best for your future journey.
Thank
And
you so much, ma'am.
moving on, from the roots of thoughts evolved the stems of words. On the stems sprouted leaves of fine and colorful poesy. The poesy provides shelter and shade to my mind whenever the mind gets jaded and weary. Let me now invite Bhaskar to read his first poem. Bhaskar.
Thank you so much, ma'am. uh, the first one, Thoughts in Solitude. Actually, it has no introduction at all, and it depends on the listeners, the readers, to interpret, to elicit different kinds of meanings, making use of what is called in literary criticism reader response theory. So it is up to readers whatever meaning they can derive. Thoughts in solitude. Thoughts wet and warm in solitude, for mind has a trip down memory lane. Heart pumps up the moments in a wavy flows of emotions. Feelings pour, damping the eye wall as tears leak through the misty roof. Palms wipe them off, the red clots, and hanky in hands hides the moisture under the layers of its folds, while smiles peep through the beads, sliding their wavy blinder against the fluttering window. Lo, grief retreats down memory lane after it hugs the joy in my sighing heart. Behold, behold, joy pops naked out from the closet, casting off aside the old painful garb. Eyes have a free soul meeting with fleeting gleams of the beauty in a glamorous and gorgeous attire. To the love it gives some sparks of fire. To the love it gives some sparks of fire.
Wonderful, wonderful. Very nice poem and very well rendered. Bhaskar, I would like to ask you a question too.
Of course, ma'am.
It's slightly different. Like we often heard that boys don't cry. What are your views on this?
See, crying is actually universal phenomena. We cannot bind it.
I think Bhaskar, there's some issue with Bhaskar's net. So let's move on. And we'll ask the question to Bhaskar again once he rejoins. So Do you know what drink I love the most? It's a cup of
Hello.
ginger tea. You're back, Bhaskar? Yeah. Can you?
I was talking about.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bhaskar.
So crying is a common phenomena. It has nothing to do with any man or woman. And yeah, sometimes when the intensity of pain exceeds the limitations, of course, we, the man, has tears in his eyes. And finally, the man of poetic temperament, when he falls into the pitfalls of grief and sorrow, whatever, then he becomes poetic or a philosopher. And the poet like us emerge on the horizon of society, and they turn their tears into the beautiful beats of poems just for our readers. That's what I have to say in this regard. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Very well answered, and I suppose you've touched the hearts of many people. So I was just telling everybody that the drink I love the most is a cup of ginger tea. Wow, it simply makes my day. So let's hear Ruchi as she speaks what memories beckon her as she hears about the cup of tea. Until then, maybe I should take a break for tea. Ruchi.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, inspiration behind this poem is nostalgia, cradled in my love for tea. I guess every tea lover can relate to this sentiment that tea is ingrained in our Indian culture. So, a cup of tea for you. Nestled in the Lesser Himalayas is the Darjeeling city, famous for its tea, scenic landscape, rich soil, and heritage. Clouds stretching their misty morning's arm, songs of native birds wobbling to the mighty mountain. Tea leaves pickers ready for their morning shift to nudge the foamy leaf from their slumber. A famous spiced tea comes from there. When I brew this tea every morning, the aroma transcends the boundary. I commune with the world and my heritage. I remember how my Nana used to brew a cup of Darjeeling tea every evening for my grandpa with a dash of lemon, honey, and pepper. For me, brewing tea is a story, a meditation in itself. Recipe for how to brew and cook a cup of tea passed to me from four generations. An heirloom. When I drink this tea every morning, I am home. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, Ruchi.
Thank you, ma'am.
So a question for you. Do you really miss India and being out of your country?
Yes, I do miss India. I do miss you, ma'am. I do miss meeting everyone. I want to reconnect with you all very soon. I'm hoping, crossing my finger, when this pandemic is soon over, I'm going to catch up with you all. I do miss having live parties, traditions, and dressing up and food, especially the shopping and food. I miss everything. I love my country. I love India.
Thank you, Ruchi. Hope to see you soon. Until then, passing you lots of love.
Thank you, ma'am. Likewise. Thank you.
So moving ahead, you call it just battle. They call it demise of mankind. You call it simple warfare. They call it killing of a sense and mind. Has war ever been good? Just like any other sensitive person, I don't think so. Yes, of course, defending yourself is a different thing. But is attacking mankind for boundaries, for economy, or for any other reason ever helpful? Let's hear Don as he renders his views through his first poem. Don.
Thank you so much again. I'm showing you a photo haiku. The photo is of the atomic bomb dome at Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park. Leaf-clad stone ramparts, phoenix trees where rivers fork, deciduous souls. Leaf-clad stone ramparts, phoenix trees where rivers fork, deciduous souls. And this poem, this is a footnote poem. It's a form that I created for it. The footnotes constitute a separate poem, but they work as footnotes also. But I'll read both. Demigod 2020, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, hindsight. 75 years since, we killed with fire. They said, we saved millions. At least they had reasons. We say the same today. How many believe that? How many care? Japan that last year, harmless, defenseless, defiant like a toddler. How many forget the Soviets that last year, risen from the carnage, swooping like a ravenous eagle? The day we killed Nagasaki, Stalin declared war. In weeks, he crossed Korea, seized Karafuto Island, stopped only at the beach. We killed two multitudes, vaporized and uncounted, just to draw a line in sand. One man made the choice then. It's one man's choice to make again. Not just two cities this time, but thousands. And the footnote poem, The Fire Next Time. August 6th and 9th, our 75-year jubilee, and Harry Truman in his deepest thought. So many killed that all may know, friend or foe, don't tread on me. At least he had reason. At Yalta, with its Black Sea chill, stuffed shirts and armchairs, we condemned half of Europe, half of Asia too, our fools pact with Stalin. And Donald Trump, we surely know his deepest thought. Friend or foe, you have flesh and a marked grave on my whim, mine alone.
That was wonderful, Dawn. In the sense, it was very touching poem, and this is the second time that I've heard it, and you know, I still feel very edgy and wonder where we are going towards. Hiroshima, Nagasaki was one incident which shook us all. Then the World Trade incident shook us again. And there have been so many such incidents. Don, have you really traveled to some of the countries other than US? Or the poems are just because of what you read and you felt?
My poems come out of my understanding of the role of the United States in the world. And it's a despicable role. We are the world's nuclear terrorists. We have been since 1945. And there's so many other things about us that are bad. They're just bad. And that's where my work comes from. My teacher was Denise Levertov, who was an activist throughout her career and saw the bombing of London in World War II. And I take after her. I have been to India. I was in Delhi for 5 months many years ago, when Indira Gandhi was your premier, your prime minister, and I actually heard her give a talk there. And I'm not widely traveled, but I've been to India.
That's so wonderful to know. Maybe that's how we got connected so well. And that is the beauty of a poet. You need not travel, actually. You can still feel the empathy, sympathy, and what must have happened. So beautiful, Dawn, really beautiful. Over to you, Aashu.
Thank you, Neelam ji. So everyone has their different perspective about the mythological characters. Everyone has their own point of view about them. So let's see and hear what Neelam ji has to say about our astounding character of Sita. Over to you, Neelam ji. I invite you to render your poem.
Dear Aashu. So the poem is titled Love and Divinity. In the king's garden, plucking the petals of lotus, mesmerized was Sita when she saw the handsome Ram. The cuckoos cooed, the menas twittered, the peahens danced. She knew that her heart henceforth belonged to Ram and only Ram. Marriage was only an association for the society. Her heart already belonged to him. She adored him, worshipped him. He was her one and only one. She could think nothing beyond him. She accompanied him to the wild forest without a sigh. Love encompassed all luxuries, was what she thought. But was time preparing her for the future? At that time, she knew not. Despite her devotion, when Ram was a witness to her being asked to walk on fire to prove her innocence, something in her had already burned to ashes. And who has the power to destroy the cinder? Even the fire bent and bowed, which only she saw. Frozen, lifeless, and numb was her frame. That love was only a mirage, she knew well now. Thus, when she was left in the woods again by Lakshman, naturally at Ram's behest, she didn't shed a tear. It was this moment which made her realize her self-worth. Towards a state of divinity, she was very near. Already prepared for the life of a sadhvi, she had no qualms as she proceeded to Valmiki's hermitage. Through the mirage of love, she could now clearly see her shadow, full of affection still. There was no rage. Forgiveness was what she bestowed to all her tormentors. Ram surely was at the top of the list. However, she'd learned now how to be happy and to clear her eyes of all mist. When Ram finally came to meet her, there was no pleasure. Her soul danced silently to its own tune. Before Ram could plead with her to return, she vanished under the earth with the shine of a moon. Thank you. That was my poem.
Wonderful, Neelam ji. It was a wonderful poem.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, can I ask you one question?
Oh, sure.
Neelam ji, you have touched every aspect of life in your poems. So my question is, after creating so many books, which book is your favorite one?
You know, I can't call any book my favorite because after all, they are my creations, my own creations. So I love them all. but certainly the latest ones are the most favorite. So I've published 5 books this year, and
Wow, that's
you
great.
can say all 5 of them are my favorites, and they are in different genres. Like some of the 2 of them are short story collections, one in English, one in Hindi. 2 are poetry collections, one in English, one in Hindi, and one is a novel in English.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful, Neelamji. And congratulations for your new ventures.
Thank you, dear. So, moving on, friends, to the second round. It's only an artist's mind that thinks and portrays of the sensitivity of so many issues, be it war, be it water crisis, be it global warming. Let's hear Don as he reads his second poem. Don.
We could have been better. 1 in 1,000 black men in America can expect to be killed by police. Edwards et al., Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. This poem is written in 2 registers. I'm going to snap my fingers when it switches. You can see it on the page, but I'll just do it this way. I drove to Goshen. We could have been better. I drove to Goshen, one of those strange spring days. The air conditioner worked, sometimes just hot air. A bad compressor leaking Freon. Someone at work asked, "Isn't that an element?" Somebody else, "You could save the money till next spring." He buys organic, biodegradable trash bags, but no clue. Maybe when danger is past, even worldwide, no one knows. And me, I worked in rocket science, then half my life with neurosurgeons, and I know that banning Freon prevented pandemic skin cancer, got it fixed right away. I woke to the governor's stay-at-home order, drove the turnpike anyway. Each cop we passed, and there were many, I thought of my white Subaru and my skin like 1,000 times before. I thought we still used the old stuff, regulated, captured, recycled. But no, the new stuff, no chlorine, no worries. Still, it is a greenhouse gas. The old stuff was too. Maybe that's a good thing though, a reminder. We could do better sooner, even when we don't want to.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. This poem really makes us ponder, makes us wonder. And there are so many things which are as yet untouched. So thank you for your poem. Moving forward, in the library of my thoughts, different days were stored as books, some as comedy, some as tragedy, and some as trees of hope in the notes. What were Bhaskar's thoughts when he wrote the poem on this topic? Let's hear him. Bhaskar.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, next one is a poem of a verb, a poem of determination, encouragement, and actually this gives us the succor. This poem gives us the succor to move on in spite of all the hiccups of life. So this is a poem of optimist, maximum optimism we can derive from the troubles of life, from the troubles of life. The title of the poem is Storms and Pale Leaves of Grief. Wonderful metaphor. Yeah, poem goes, it goes, storms of heavy hail swarm every door of life under the floating clouds. but the stones are seen nowhere except in wandering eyes, except the soft flowers of hope, strewn with spiky thorns of despair. Dark times still hover and howl with gnashing teeth, pouring each moment a handful of blinding chilies in the eyes of relief, with extra salt on the scars. Peace, peace cries in me, writhing behind the locked door of my mind, waiting for the furious winds to calm down for all, and the final fall of pale leaves of grief for a euphoric sigh of relief. Thank you so much.
That was another wonderful poem from your pen, Bhaskar. And yes,
Thank you,
we
ma'am.
should be optimistic always, and have belief in ourselves and in the happiness and the positivity in the world. Thank you so much. And moving on, the next poem by Ruchi is another interesting poem. You know, I came to know about the community of Rudalis, or the female weepers, when a movie was released in India by Bollywood with Dimple Kapadia as the main protagonist. However, not everyone must be knowing what it means to be a Rudali. Let's hear Ruchi as she talks about this sensitive topic. Ruchi.
Thank you, ma'am. The inspiration behind this poem was the word whale. When I first heard this prompt, a movie Rudali, like Neelam ma'am had just said, flashed before my eyes based on the female weepers. Mahashweta Devi's story brings to the forefront the issues of the caste system, exploitation of women, especially low caste, and their liberation through the sex system. So, Rudali, a liberation journey for you. The community inundated with fallacies. No family member can mourn the death of the upper caste male. Wails are not permitted. Tears are subsidized. Emotions are kept at the tip of the tongue. Wails are not permitted. Mourn the dead. If you do it in silence. So she is there, wailing, rolling, slapping, hitting her breast, beating her head, 360 degrees reversal of misfortune, fated consequences, and morbidity. She is there, wailing and rolling, slapping, hitting her breast, beating her head. A group, undivided, would parade the dead remain of the corpse to the crematorium, where expensive wood choices and ceremony placards would be all flashy extravaganza for the dead, but for wail, sobs, thumping, shrills, tears, she will get 501 rupees, extra few rupees if she rolls in the dirt, smear herself in the mud, pebble bath, thinking about vermilion, honey, and milk ritualistic bath. Her silhouette, boxed, labeled, and distinct in plain black cotton sari with black coal, eyes not stranger to the veil, silences, modesty, will get food. Sometimes another set of black saris, as no one can wail like them. They are Rudalis. Thank you.
Very touching poem. Um, I suppose their lives always make our eyes moist. So thank you for rendering this poem. So moving on, whenever we hear of any cycle in the world of science, it means giving of something and receiving something else. You will be amazed, dear viewers, to hear how Aashu connects it to her own life. Aashu.
Thank you, Neelamji. So this poem of mine is about the water cycle. Though we know that water cycle is falling of drops, again mixing into the soil, moving towards the ocean, then forming vapor. But this is the same, but we can relate it into our own life. So my poem is Water Cycle. I flow as an aquifer, drenching my own soil, earning for destiny, joined ocean saline. Still craving for contentment, still longing for serenity. Actually, the water droplet is longing for destiny. So, still craving for contentment, still longing for serenity. I turned into vapor, switching my entity. Now I rise up in the sky, moving upward, high and high, forming drops to heal and nurse, wanting to quench eternal thirst. Falling as raindrops back on sand, giving the surface as rich green land. Fondle with flowers, tickling the leaves, birds chirping on verdant greens. Falling as raindrops back on sand, giving the surface a rich green land. Fondle with flowers, tickling the leaves, birds chirping on verdant greens. Excuse me. Drenching the earth again as drops, mixing in soil, a little seed pops. Drenching the earth again as drops, mixing in soil, a little seed pops. Several beings struggling to survive. Dreary earth is filled with life. Gazing these tiny bits pacify my soul. Gazing these tiny bits pacify my soul. Filled with pleasure again, I run towards my goal. Filled with pleasure again, I run towards my goal. My journey of life continue in same process. The joy of giving makes me complete and blessed. Search for my paradise has now come to a halt. Search for my paradise has now come to a halt. I feel immense eternal pleasure every time I fall. I feel immense eternal pleasure every time I fall. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aashu. It's a beautiful concept, pleasure and falling down,
Yes.
which, is an amazing thought. I really love these last two lines. Of course, I love the entire poem, but these two lines are amazing. Thank you. Thank you, dear.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I invite you, ma'am. I invite Neelam Saxena to please recite her poem.
Thank you, dear Aashu. My poem is titled The Air. It may rejuvenate you as a gentle breeze. It may make the branches dance as a wind. Its fury may be at its peak, and it may uproot many trees. But the journey of air is indeed the most unique, isn't it? When you're walking carefree in the lap of nature with naked feet, the breeze may softly caress your fresh face, your bare hands, your happy feet, moving in rhythm with your body, and you may feel like pirouetting with it. And when it's just about to rain, it may dance around you, making you swirl. The trees, the creepers, the birds may tweet, bringing with it those heavenly drops of rain, making you touch the divinity of nature. However, when its anger is aroused, it may wrathfully take the forms of cyclones, typhoons, and hurricanes, destroying whatever comes in its path, though it really has no goal other than to calm its own nerves. Isn't it amazing that the same air has so many forms? I often wonder why it rises as a tempest. Does some submerged wish make it go wild, destroying and devastating the areas in which it blows? Are we neglecting nature to cause these upheavals? Calm down, O man. Think, think, think. Yes, sitting silently and pondering often makes us reach some solutions. As a poet, I only hope and pray that the air only passes as a gentle breeze, or at best as a wind, and waves at me as I pass by. So that was my poem, The Air. Thank you so much.
Lovely poem, ma'am.
So I thank all our dear poets, Dawn, Ruchi, Aashu, Bhaskar, to have joined us. I know it is morning in the United States, and you might have had to get up early in the morning to join this session. So thank you so much. And thanks to Aashu and Bhaskar too for rendering such wonderful poems. And of course, a big thanks to our wonderful viewers who joined us and have been continuously commenting about our poems. Some I could highlight, some I could not. We could not take comments, but we'll try to answer whatever you've written. So thank you so much. A very good night.
And a big thank you to you for sharing your Facebook page for the authors and writers to showcase their creativity. Thank you so much, ma'am.
It's my pleasure, it's my pleasure.
I also want to say something to you all. It was really great connecting with you all today. And it's indeed enriching experience to hear such a diverse range of poetic expressions and share mine with you all. Thank you, Neelam ma'am, for providing us a great platform to share our love for poetry through your Facebook page unequivocally. And last but not least, I hope our viewer had a great time. Till next time we see you. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
So goodbye and good night. And for the viewers in US, good morning. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ruchi. Bye, Dawn. Bye, Aashu.
Bye,
Bye, ma'am.
Dawn. Bye, Ruchi. Bye, Bhaskar.